Lochani Vandwana Vekosi, and welcome to yet another Tubersode of Show Bees How. You know how it do. We are buzzing up in this. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you very much for your continued support. I am ever so grateful. Thank you for keeping it locked. And if it is your first time on these streets, do not play yourself. Click that subscribe button, like, comment, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every single time we drop a new tube episode. I mean, why not? Right, today we are in for a treat, child. Believe me when I say that, but you know that before we get into anything, right, we need to pass by the word of God, because that is what anchors us on this channel. That is our foundation. That is our bona. We do nothing without the word of God, child. The word of the day today we will find in the book of Romans 8 verse 30, and I will be reading from the Passion Translation. It reads as follows: Having determined our destiny ahead, he called us to himself and transferred his perfect righteousness to everyone he called, and to those who possess his perfect righteousness, he co-glorified with his son. First things first, what drew me to this word is having determined our destiny ahead. It tells us that God has predestined us. It tells us that God has already established our purpose for us. He knows what he brought us into this earth to do, right? That is the first thing that we need to know, that God has our future in his hands, right? Then it says he called us to himself and transferred his perfect righteousness to everyone he calls, right? So this tells us that if you do not have the righteousness of God, or if you are not convicted towards righteousness, that you cannot say that you have been called by God, right? If you do not feel the need to be righteous, if you do not feel the need to live in the righteousness of God, then you can't say that you are called by God. You can't say that what you're doing is the ordered steps of God if you do not feel the need to walk in his righteousness, right? When it says those who possess his perfect righteousness, he co-glorified with his son. It says in another version that we are co-heirs with Jesus, right? So he qualifies us at the same level as Jesus. Imagine that. Imagine that. Like, that is a big deal, right? Yeah, it is a big deal. I love this word. I really do. I hope it has blessed you in the same way that it has blessed me. Right now, moving right along into the business of the day. Today, we are talking all things building a brand, or rather, what I am learning and have learned about what it means and what it takes to build your brand. Now, to those of you who don't know, I am an artist. I'm an actress, a director. I am a script writer. I'm just an all-round artist. I love everything that has to do with art, right? So primarily it's in that particular field that I will be speaking from. But I believe that these principles or these lessons can be applied to life in general, in terms of building a name for yourself, or building a name for your company, or just whatever it is that you do to make it stand out in the crowd. These are the principles that you should apply, right? So I've been wanting to put out this tubesode, but then because of imposter syndrome, child, thinking that you're not worthy because you have not met certain standards according to culture, right, and society. But you know what? I was like, child, you are a brand. This is me talking to myself in the mirror. You are a brand. You are a mogul in the making, honey. And you better quote me on that, right? So I was like, I'm going to do this. I have learned this. I believe in these things that I have learned in my journey. And so why not give it to someone else who might not even have this knowledge, right? So you know how's I'm about. I'm about, spreading love. I'm about spreading light. And I believe that these principles will bring light and love into your journey, right? So the first thing that I have found that is important about building a brand is knowing your brand, child. I know that you have heard this 100 times, but you cannot hear it enough. You need to know your brand, right? You need to know what you are all about. Otherwise, you won't know who to associate with. You won't know who you need to work with. You won't know who you need to look up to. You won't know where you are headed, essentially. And so that becomes a problem, because if you don't know where you are headed, then there is no point starting in the first place, because you need to have a vision, right? So you need to know your brand. You need to know what your brand is about. You need to know who your brand is for, right? For example, I'm all about youth development using the arts, right? I'm all about community building using the arts, right? So I'm all about getting artists out of the hood and helping them find their feet out there in the world. That is my primary passion, right? Because of a community arts based organization. This is what gave me the confidence to step into being an actress, or being a professional artist, if we can call it that, right? It is because of initiatives such as community theater groups that has made me feel confident enough to become an actress. If it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have done it, because all the myths and stuff that are associated with being an actress or being in the entertainment field, right? But then I stepped into it because I knew it is possible, and I saw all the ways that I could make it possible. For me, it's important to help young people, young artists, to build their brand, right? To see themselves as a business, to make them see that your talent is not just a hobby. It doesn't have to be just a hobby, or even if it is just a hobby, it can be monetized. It can become a means of, or a stream of income. So that is what I'm all about. That is what my brand is all about. So it's very important to know what your brand is all about, because then you will associate with people that are along the same path, right? Right, we get that. That is point number one, right? Point number two is that you need to be patient and consistent. You understand, guys? So, as we can hear the word build, right? Anything that is built takes time. If you think of a house, whatever, it takes time to build these things. You don't just decide today, okay, I want to build this, and then tomorrow it's already there. Otherwise, it's going to collapse, because there needs to be a foundation. If you know how long it takes to get a foundation in place, first of all, you need to scrape out everything that has been in that piece of land. Let's say if you're going to build a house or a building or whatever, you need to scrape out all that, and then make space for that foundation. And then that's only when you start building the foundation. From the foundation, you have to start now building on top of that foundation. So it's a lot. It doesn't take a day. So you need to be patient with yourself, right? You need to be consistent. A lot of times we are not able to be patient with ourselves, myself included, because we look at brands or people that are already established, and we feel as though they need it up quick. If you look at the likes of Abobonang, if you look at all the big names that you can think of, it really feels like, it was just yesterday that they became big, but it's not. It's been years for their brands to be where they at right now. It has taken years. If you think about when live was, that was a long time ago. And even besides big names, even people that are just getting into the industry, for instance, people that are winning awards right now, that are being called newcomers, if you speak to them, or if you look into their journey and see like their interviews and stuff like that, you'll be surprised to hear that they've been in the industry of they've been knocking and trying for decades, or whatever. Even myself, I'm not big, I'm not a celebrity, I haven't really had my big break yet, but I have worked in this industry for most of my life, since I was a child. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to be patient with yourself, but also not just be patient to be lazy, right? You need to be consistent. You need to put in the work each and every day. You need to do something that contributes towards your dreams, towards where you want to be. So you need to be consistent, but also be patient. Do not rush yourself. When you are tripping, when you are falling, when you are experiencing rejection, do not take that as something that it means that you don't have it in you, or you can't become that brand. You understand? But just hang in there and put in the work, someday it will show. It will count for something. You understand? But also remember that some things, they're not always meant to blow up or whatever. That's also one thing that I've learned, is that if you have a talent, for instance, to be a poet or to be a musician or to be a what, but then even in yourself, you don't really feel as though that is what you will be known for in the earth. But I always feel like always use what you have, because there is a purpose for that. There is a reason why you have that. So even if you just write that one single, maybe it will inspire someone who is like you, who is maybe shy, who is very towards themselves, to write their songs as well. And maybe for them, that's what they will be known for. But for you, it was just that one single that was gonna inspire that other person. So I really believe in exploring all your talents, all your gifts, going out there and giving it your all. Try everything there is to try. Right? Right. So we will all be patient and consistent. Moving on to number 3, it says, find your crowd. Right, guys, it is very important to find your crowd. Not being in the right atmosphere, or not being aligned with the right people, can throw you off. uh it can really send you drowning. It can really make you feel like you're drowning. You understand? So sometimes people will say, you need to associate with people who are doing better than you, or whatever. But even so, it needs to be the right people, because sometimes you can find that you are with people who are doing better than you. That's cool, because you learn from them. But then you find that those people, they diminish you, right? They make you feel small. They make you feel as if your ideas are not worth it. Your ideas will never make it. You can't have such people around you. So even if you have people in your space that are doing better than you need people who believe in you. You need people who understand that everyone has to start somewhere, and people who will not belittle you, but people who will help you to become whatever it is that you want to become. So it's very important to find the right crowd. And this means also associating yourself with people who are where you want to be, people who have been, or people who have been where you want to be, right? Or people who are going where you want to be. So really, really, really make sure that you are around the right crowd. Even if it's, sometimes they may have been there and they discovered, okay, no, this is not for them, but they can help you in how to get there, and it may be for you. So it's very important to find the right crowd. And if someone is rubbing you the wrong way, guys, I always feel like intuition is something that we really, really need to pay close attention to, because that is the first thing that indicates red flags to us. And oftentimes we just overlook it. But when you look back after the damage has been done, you realize, I did have a bad feeling about that, but then I didn't listen to it, and then it doesn't count at that time, right? And then point number 4, right? Point number 4 is fans versus supporters. It is very important. This is very important, especially as artists, I believe. Both are very important. Fans and supporters are very good for one's success, are very good for one's brand, right? But for me, I believe in having more supporters than having fans, right? Because supporters, right? I wrote here, I say, people, supporters are people who believe in your vision, right? People who buy into your vision, who believe in your ideas, right? Even before anyone else believes in your idea, even before you are able to prove that your ideas are a hit. And those people are hard to find. People who believe in something that hasn't even been tried or tested yet, but they believe that because of the faith that you have in it, they know that it will work out. And because of the effort that you're putting into it, they are willing to support you. They are willing to be there for you. Those are the kinds of people that you need. Like, supporters are those people who, when you are giving up on yourself, they'll be the ones to say, hi boo, you can't give up on yourself. This could be really good. This could take you somewhere. Do not give up. These are the kinds of people who say, how about you try this? If something hasn't worked out in a certain way, they say, how about you try this? How about you call this person? I've seen this person do it. Those are your supporters. Those are the people who will be there when nobody else is. And then there's fans. So fans, I believe, it's just people that buy into trends. They buy into what's popping. They buy into what's moving in the now, right? So those are the people who, once you've made it, those are the people who will fall on the bandwagon to say, oh, okay, this girl is trending now. This girl is doing the things now, of which, I mean, it's great. It's good to have that. But those are the people who will be there more or less when you are established. Those are the people who are going to be there when they start hearing your name come up more and more. Those are the people who will be like, Auntie, who's this person? Because I've been hearing about them. Oh, this is who they are. You understand? They are important because also they will help to push your future ideas, your future projects, because they're the kind of people who are plugged into culture and what is needed in culture. But you need supporters. I believe that you need supporters more than you do. Sorry about that. I ran out of battery. I think I was talking about fans, right? So, fans, as I was saying, are the kinds of people who will, if you are not popping anymore, if you're not putting out work anymore, they won't even find out why you know those are fans to me. They won't even find out why. They won't even find out, are you okay? They will just be like, I really, there are those people who I really used to like her music, hey, but what happened? So the fans are more of people who will hop onto the bandwagon, who will help you get a bigger reach, have a greater reach, but then they will have nothing to do with you know the inner, the core of everything, right? So that's point number 4. But also, it's important to note that both fans and supporters are very important when it comes to building your brand, because you do need to have a great reach, and fans are great at making that happen. But you also do need to have supporters who will help you when it comes to the building process before you're established, before you're known, before you make it. You need those people who will hold you, those people who will help you, to reach your goals and your dreams, right? That's point number 4. Point number 5, and the final point, faith it till you make it. A lot of people will say, fake it if you until you make it, but that is expensive, child. Faking it until you make it is expensive, because now you have to you become something that you're not, like instantly become something that you're not, because that's what faking is. It's not. But when you're faithing it until you make it, remember um that faith is the evidence of things not seen, right? So what does that mean, the evidence of things not seen? To me, that simply means that um if I have faith that someday I will be an engineer, then the evidence of that is in me going to study to be an engineer. So that is the evidence of something that we don't see today. You understand? And remember that faith without works is dead. You understand? So when you are faithing something, you are working towards it, even though it's not there yet. And nobody knows if it will ever be there, but working towards it and believing that someday you will get there. That is what faith it till you make it is. So it's, to me, when you say faith it until you make it, it's saying, that this is who I want to be. This is my dream. You understand? In my case, my dream is to have artists in townships, in villages, have artists in those places believe in themselves, have artists in those places having the resources to put out their work out there into the world without having to go to the city and move away from without having to completely change their lifestyle, but even from what they have, being able to make the impact that they need to make. So that is my dream. I want to be that stepping stone for young artists to be able to reach that goal that they want to reach, right? But for me to get there, then I need to start small. I need to start small. I need to start somewhere, right? So you need to envision yourself and know, this is where I want to be, right? When you know that this is where I want to be, this is who I want to be, then you know that you know what you are working towards. You know that, okay, if I want to be this, then I'm going to need to do one, two, three. Then I'm going to need to speak to one, to whom and whom. Then I'm going to need to, you understand what I'm saying? So faith it until you make it. Don't fake it. but faith it, put in the necessary work until you get there. But I think overall, building a brand has to do with believing in it and knowing that you are called into it, and knowing that it is something that you really can't live without working on, first of all, and you really can't live without wanting to see it come to pass. You understand? Because, like I said, sometimes some things don't become what we are hoping that they will become, you know, but the mere fact that you have that itching, that burn in you that says do one, two, three, it means it is intended for something. So building a brand is knowing that this is what I want to do, and I won't quit, and I won't stop until I see it. You understand what I'm saying? So that is the most important thing. And man, I'm wishing for all of us to build those companies, to build our brand, our names as brands. Um, Especially for artists, it's very important for artists to see themselves as a business, to see themselves as a big deal, to see themselves as more than just a singer or just an actress or just, but see yourself as someone who will contribute into whatever it is that you are participating in. Well, that wraps up today's Tubersode. I hope this was helpful to you. And yeah, man, I hope that you took something from this, even if it's just one thing, even if it's just two things. But I hope that you took something from this. And I hope that you will know that you are a big deal, honey. You are a mogul, honey. You are the ish, honey. You are everything and more, and you can do it. If not you, then who else, right? Remember to spread love, light, and positivity. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment, right? Guys, comment. Let's engage. I really enjoy engaging. I really enjoy seeing your thoughts and what you think about everything that I talk about. So don't be afraid to engage, even if you disagree. Come, let's unpack it. Let's see if we can reach a mutual agreement or not. That's also not a train smash. Have an awesome day moving forward, or night, or morning, or whenever it is that you are watching this. I love you so much. Thank you for watching.